to the first year experience program. We're gonna do a fun presentation tonight, get to know each other a little bit better, get to know some of our student leaders here. I will kick it over to my co-host, Emily, to start us off.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Emily Lombardo. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Programs and Leadership in the College of Arts and Sciences. So we're really excited to be with you tonight. And first and foremost, congratulations on your acceptance into Boston University. Of course, we wish that we could be in person and be able to meet all of you on campus, but nevertheless, we're excited to be able to connect. We have a bunch of Dean's hosts who are upperclassmen students with us tonight. And we're going to provide you the opportunity to chat with them all later. So this is our first year experience sort of overview. So what we're going to do tonight is really walk through what your first year at BU could look like, really starting today. And we're going to do that via a presentation, and we're going to highlight some of the really important steps of your first year at Boston University, as well as some of the things that are really special about being a student within the College of Arts and Sciences. So I'll pass it back over to Stacy here to kick us off.
Great. So we have 4 Dean's hosts that are going to kind of speak on our panel tonight, and a number of Dean's hosts that are here to meet in small groups after the presentation. So Dean's hosts who are leading our small groups, if you could all introduce yourselves in the chat, that would be great, just with your name, major, and hometown. And we also have an academic advisor with us this evening, Chris McMullen. So he's here for you to ask questions to in the chat or directly. If you have any questions about academics, majors, minors, everything along that line. You can also ask other questions about student life to all of our students who are here tonight. So to get us started, I'm going to introduce our 4 panelists, and you're going to tell us your name, what you're studying, where you're from, and most importantly, one word to describe you your freshman year. So we're going to start off with Brian.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian. I'm a senior studying neuroscience, and I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. And I think the one word to describe me would be immature.
Oh, I knew Brian as a freshman. I don't think you were immature.
Yeah, I was all over the place.
Stephanie, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm a rising junior in the College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm studying political science with a minor in public relations. And I'm from the Bronx, New York. And one word that describes me freshman year would be scared.
Ezgi.
Hi everyone, I'm Ezgi. I'm a senior studying psychology in the College of Arts and Sciences with double minors in anthropology and innovation entrepreneurship. And I'm originally from Turkey, so if anyone's coming from Turkey, hello. And one word to describe me as a freshman would be excited, and not a lot changed.
Yes, I also knew Ezgi as a freshman, and she was very excited. And finally, Abby, who is still a freshman. So one word to describe you now.
Hi everyone, my name's Abby. I'm a current freshman majoring in marine science and minoring in Spanish and biology. I'm originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I guess it describes my freshman year more than me currently, but growth.
Nice. Thank you, Abby. And just as a side note, we are live captioning this. So if you want a live transcript, you can just hit the CC button at the bottom of your screen. So all of our students introduce themselves. Emily and I will both introduce ourselves. My name is Stacy Ulrich, Director of Student Programs and Leadership. I'm from the northern suburbs of Chicago. So when it was time for me to go to my freshman year of college, my mom and I drove up in her Buick Roadmaster across like a third of the country, and I was terrified. That was a word to describe me.
Yeah, like I mentioned, my name's Emily Lombardo. One word to describe myself freshman year was probably eager.
So that's how Emily and I felt our freshman year, but how did we look our freshman year? Let's find out. Let's take a little look here. Let me get this guy going. Oh, come on. There we go, freshman year. So we've grown a lot since then, our senior year photos. We truly come into ourselves since freshman year. So as Emily mentioned, we're gonna kind of go through the anatomy of the first year. Obviously, every person's first year is gonna look a little bit different, but we're gonna try to highlight the common experiences amongst all of our students in their first year at BU and in the College of Arts and Sciences, while trying to point out like some areas to find community. Because Boston University is a giant university, and then the College of Arts and Sciences is the biggest school within a big university. So helping you find that community is very important to us. So today, of course, day of celebration. Congratulations once again on your admission to BU. Some of you are totally decided, you're definitely coming here. And for some of you, you're still figuring it out and deciding, and we hope to help you through tonight, kind of help make that decision. So where do you go from here? So you will need to make that decision by May 1st. You'll put in your deposit. At that point, you can also submit your housing preferences. You'll also be able to register for orientation. So all of our orientation sessions are remote this summer. There'll be 4 sessions for you to choose from, where you get to meet some upperclassmen student leaders, where you can talk to academic advisors and learn about big resources at the university, meet other students, of course. And then in the last week of May, one of your CAS academic advisors will be reaching out to you to start the registration process. You'll register for all 4 of your classes online over the course of the summer, and they'll kind of help you through that process and guide you as to what your requirements are and what you'll be needing to register for to begin in the fall. And that will quickly bring us to September.
All right, so CAS has an annual tradition of hosting a food truck welcome event for all of our first year students. This is usually just a day or 2 before classes start. We actually host it on the lawn of the Dean of the CAS, his house, which is right across the street from BU. So he lets us kind of take over the house in his yard for the day. We bring in a couple of local Boston food trucks, and we invite the entire CAS first year class to come and get some good, delicious food, to meet each other, mix and mingle. And we also invite student leaders that represent various CAS clubs and organizations to come as well. And they set up tables and, they share information about their clubs and how to get involved. So this is a really great experience for freshmen to, start to connect with more people within the College of Arts and Sciences. And up until this point, because orientation is going to be remote this year, this will really be the first time that you'll be able to meet your fellow classmates in person. And of course, last year, because of COVID, we weren't able to do this event because it is a really, really big event. But this year, we're really hoping that we're going to be able to, reimagine it and still do it in a way that is compliant with all of the state and city guidelines, and to still be able to offer a really fun special day to welcome all of the freshmen that are here on campus. So Brian, how did you get involved in CAS organizations during your first year at BU?
Yeah, it really was through this event. Also, another event people might hear about in the future was Splash as well. The university gives us great opportunities to find organizations at tables and social settings like this. And, I would say sign up for as many things as you could think you might be interested in, because I signed up for way too many and you can narrow it down after. And so I did that, and then I kind of made good connections in my department and my major, found good friendships, and I realized that the organization I was really interested in, it kind of naturally developed, and I moved towards it, dropped out some of the other stuff, and got really involved. So, you can find your way, but I would say the biggest thing for that I learned is just definitely get out there, sign up for stuff.
Great. So another opportunity to get involved and sort of make a smaller community at BU is through FY 101. FY 101 is a 1-credit class that meets the entire first semester. When you register for your first semester courses, you'll register for 4 academic classes, which will put you at 16 credits, but you can register for up to 18 credits at no additional cost. So FY 101 is a class that you could add since it's just 1 credit. There's also what we call PDPs, physical education classes, that you can add too, just for fun, and that will get you to those 18 credits. So Ezgi took FY 101 as a freshman and then also served as a student leader peer mentor later on. So Ezgi, can you tell us a little bit about what happened in that class and what you took away from that experience?
Yeah, so coming from all the way from Turkey and not being able to visit Boston or BU at the time, I think FY 101 seemed like an amazing start to my college life. And I honestly did not know what to expect. I was like, okay, 101, like first year experience 101, what am I gonna learn here? And I learned so much from talking to my peer mentor, Morgan, that Stacy also knows. And just like from the classes, even though I was, shy because I didn't know how to get on my classes and which ones to add and which ones to drop, like I would just text Morgan, hey, like how do I add this class? And then she would be like, it would be 2 a.m. and she would be like, okay, so this is how you do it, and like send me a video. So I think having that role model and just that peer mentor that was showing me around what was there in Boston, what is there in BU, as I can take for granted and use as a resource. So I learned so much about the writing center, about the career development center earlier than I think I would have if I didn't take FI 101. So I think it really helped that excited Ezgi freshman year that thought she could do everything. And Stacy can tell more about this too, but the second class after meeting Morgan, I started asking her, how do I become you? I was like, how do I do this? Because I really wanted to give back. I really wanted to be that person that passes on that knowledge onto the next generation, because those are going to be the next generation that are going to be peer mentors as well. So I think that giving back aspect is a huge culture in BU, and also of course in FY 101 it's really big.
Thanks, Ezgi.
Awesome. Thank you, Ezgi. And thank you for all your time with being a peer mentor and, contributions to the FY 101 program. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about Splash. And Brian mentioned this a bit in his piece when he was talking. But Splash is our campus-wide student organization and student club fair. It takes place on Nickerson Field. And we have over, I think, 400 student clubs at BU. So there are a lot of ways to get involved. And so the Splash event is sponsored by the Office of Student Activities. And it usually happens like the second weekend of school. Everybody can come out and meet student leaders, walk around Nickerson Field and take in all of the different clubs that are there and figure out which ones they might be interested in pursuing and getting involved in. And so whether you want to find an extracurricular opportunity that's similar to a club that you were involved in high school, or maybe you want to explore something completely and totally new, Splash is the best way to learn about that. And so this past fall, Splash was held virtually, but I know the Office of Student Activities is trying to figure out how to make that happen for fall this year in person for all of our freshmen. So Abby, can you talk a little bit about how you got involved through Splash and some of the different student organizations that you got involved in this year?
Yeah, so I actually didn't go to Splash this year. It was obviously not in person, so I couldn't go to that. And the online one, there are a bunch of links, and you'd like click on the links and you join a Zoom meeting with the clubs and organizations. But instead of doing that, I just added myself to email lists of a bunch of different clubs. And like Brian was saying, I joined way too many the first few weeks of the semester. I had so many meetings to go to, and I was like, I cannot keep this up anymore. So then I narrowed it down to some organizations that I was more interested in. So the ones I'm in currently are Charge, which is like a workout group for girls on campus. You try different workout classes, and you can have small groups. And I'm actually going to be the secretary for that next year. I joined BU Navigators, which is a Christian group on campus, some career-related clubs like the Sustainable Ocean Alliance and the Marine Science Association. And then later in my fall semester, I applied for Dean's Hosts, which are all of the students who are here presenting to you today.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Abby. And, Abby is a freshman this year. And so, a strange time to be a freshman, right? But I think that her speaking about the clubs that she was able to find just goes to show that there are still things that have been happening on campus here, and that clubs are really eager to meet new students, to get new students involved, and to be able to pick things up in person when we're able to, but that there's still a lot of activity happening even in this remote setting.
All right. So you've kind of made it through September. I'm sure some things happen in October, but we're going to move on to November because that's the next kind of big moment for our first year CAS students, because you're thinking about the second semester already at this time. Unlike for most high school experiences, you'll change your course schedule each semester. So as I mentioned earlier, you'll register for anywhere from between 4 and 6 classes each semester. And in order to make those decisions, you'll need to meet with an academic advisor each semester. You're in charge of your kind of own academic plan and requirements, but this is the person that can help you talk through it, figure out what will be the best options for you, and of course, talk through any sort of indecision or choosing between different majors or different classes. So while you're required to meet with them twice a year to prepare for those registration periods, we recommend that you meet with them more than that, so that you can get to know them, have deeper conversations, etc. So Stephanie came in as an undeclared student, and I think her advisor was actually Taryn, who's in that photo. So Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit about how you used your academic advisor to decide on your major? Because I know you have a major in CAS now and a minor in the College of Communication, which is very cool.
Yeah, so you're allowed to take classes that interest you, so that really helps for you to explore your interests. And you have to declare your minor by the end of your sophomore year. And by that point, you will have taken about 16 classes at BU. So you will have a good sense of what you want to do. And being able to take classes in other colleges within BU like COM really allowed me to further explore my interests and be able to declare both major and minor.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. And like she mentioned, we have what's called universal minors. So you can do a minor in any other school or college, whereas being admitted to the College of Arts and Sciences mean you'll need to choose a major within the College of Arts and Sciences, but we have 90 majors, so that shouldn't be, you're not very limited in that choice. All right.
So before you know it, it's going to be December, which is the first time that you'll be going through finals period. And so as a way to sort of celebrate the end of the semester, we host a midnight breakfast event at 100 Bay State Road. That's the office that Stacy and I work in. It's a big building. There's a dining hall on the first floor, many different resources on some of the upper floors. And we take over the entire building for the freshman class in CAS to have a midnight breakfast. So we truly do serve food, breakfast food from 10 p.m. to midnight that night. And then on every floor within the building, we have all sorts of different activities. You can see some of them highlighted here on this slide. So we have a Mario Kart tournament. We have these little sort of stuffed Boston Terrier stuffed animals that we give away, and just a bunch of fun activities to really serve as a moment for students to take a break, to relax, to have some fun before the beginning of finals period starts. So this past December, we're still able to hand out those really fun terriers, even though the midnight breakfast has so many different parts to it. Everybody seems to love the terriers. So we made sure that we were still able to do that this past December because of COVID and everything. And next year, hopefully we'll get back to normal and we can have another really fun midnight breakfast. Because I know it's definitely one of my favorite things that we do all year. It's a great special CAS tradition. So Abby, you went through your, not that long ago, really went through your first finals period here at BU. So what tips do you have for excelling academically during your first semester of college?
Yeah, I would say my biggest tip is definitely to stay organized. Before the semester even starts, you should get a syllabus for each of your classes. So I like to use a paper planner, and I go through and write down all the major due dates so that nothing sneaks up on me. And then once I see like what my weekly homework load is like, I try to do the same things on the same day of the week, if that makes sense. So like I always do my pre-lab on Tuesdays so that I have a pretty good routine. And then for memory-based classes, I make Quizlets a lot, and I would review those pretty regularly so that you're not cramming before a big exam. And for writing-based classes, like the first year writing seminars, make sure to start early, and just work a little bit at a time so that you're not super overwhelmed by the whole paper that you have to write right before the due date. And it's totally okay if you start to feel overwhelmed. I've definitely been there. Everyone I know has been there. So don't be afraid to reach out to your professors or your TFs. They're all super nice, super helpful. They'll make time for you. And there's also the Educational Resource Center that you can find tutors and advisors in to help you out too.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. There's definitely no shortage of resources at BU to help you excel academically. I'm curious from some of our other panelists that that are here, if you want to raise your hand and share some other tips that you have for adjusting academically to BU. Yeah, Ezgi.
Every time takes me a second to find that hand. I think for me, even like even as a senior, I had to adjust myself into how to excel at things. So I think similar to Abby, I think I use planners and all that, but also having an open mind about like, what can I do for these set of classes? Because the classes that you're going to take are going to differ from one another. So I think that's why the resources are very big in Boston University, because of the vast majority and the like variety of the things that you will be taking. So I think knowing that and acknowledging that is very important, and also reaching out to, if you take FI 101, your mentor, or if you're in a student organization, even though it's not about academics, they're all BU students. So reaching out to them and asking whether someone is in that class and if they want to study together, make a study group. So I think all those little things will help you support yourself academically, even though it's more of a social aspect at first.
I think that's great advice from both of you. I think a big difference between high school and college is in college, there's lots of resources, but you have to reach out for them. They're not just gonna like fall in your lap. You do need to take the initiative to ask for help or to have conversations with folks. And yeah, that doesn't necessarily come naturally to people. So that's a change sometimes that you have to start doing on your own. Another big difference is how long your winter break is. So in college, you're pretty much done with the fall as soon as that last final is over. And then you have a break that's sometimes up to like 6-7 weeks, because classes generally don't start until right around Martin Luther King Day in January, or maybe a little bit afterwards. And then you're taking a whole new set of classes at that point. So another way that you can kind of expand your career preparation and learning more about your interests is through FY 102, which is another 1 credit class in the spring that's focused on careers of interest. So this is just one example: Introduction to Careers in Finance, Consulting, and Accounting. Chris, our academic advisor here today, taught one, Introduction to Careers in Humanities. So we have about 7 different topics. We bring in guest speakers from the field, sometimes even upperclassmen, and you get to talk to career counselors as well as academic advisors about how to get internships and sort of set yourself up for success in a career of interest.
All right, so March, we pretty much, are sort of at this time of year right now. I know it's April, but really this time of year and leading up to where we're at right now, is really when it's a great time for freshmen to start thinking about what leadership opportunities do they want to maybe step into and pursue for the next academic year. So whether that is serving as an executive board member for maybe a club that you got really passionate about, or maybe you want to serve as a student facilitator in orientation or a peer mentor for FY 101 the next year. A lot of these opportunities start to present themselves in March and April. So it's a good time to be looking out for opportunities to put yourself out there, gain some more experience, develop some more of your leadership skills, and really grow in that area. So I would definitely encourage, if there's things that you get really passionate about your freshman year, is to consider getting more involved in the springtime and then into your sophomore year.
So then we come to April, and you're sort of back where you started, meeting with that academic advisor and putting together what this is, which is your class schedule for the next semester. So as Stephanie mentioned, you need to declare your major by the end of your sophomore year. But at that point, you've already taken 4 semesters of classes. So you should have a better sense of where your interests lie and what makes sense for you. You'll probably note on this schedule example, there's a lot of white space. And I know that our natural science majors might say, well, my schedule looks very different because there's a lot of time that's spent in labs that takes a lot more time than what you see here. And that is true. But for this white space, this free time, your faculty are really expecting you to be preparing for class, reading, going over your notes. It's not necessarily all free time. And like the students were saying, you know, you have to kind of schedule that time for yourself and make sure that you're using it to the best of your ability to stay on top of your work and all that, while still having fun and having some of that free time as well. So I'm going to stop sharing and move on to ask our panelists just a couple of questions before we go into our small groups for the rest of the presentation. So my first question is, any one of you can answer, is what was the most surprising thing about your freshman year? Brian, go ahead.
I would say my parents kind of gave me this idea that the teachers don't care about you and don't expect any help and you're on your own. And I missed 2 classes in a class, and a teacher emailed me saying, hey, what's up? Are you all right? You know, and like, you know, we talked, and there was another time I went to office hours and stayed an hour after talking for an hour about life with another professor. And so I think it was really surprising that the teachers do actually care about your well-being a lot. And you know, you gotta communicate, but really the community here is great. So yeah,
I'm really glad you had that experience, Brian. Thank you. Anyone else want to comment on most surprising thing from their freshman year? Abby, go ahead.
It's kind of like what Stacy was saying, just how much flexibility there is. Like, you really make your own schedule, and you do have to set aside time to do your work, but then also to do things that are just for you. Like, I like going on runs in the mornings, or just reading a book or watching Netflix or something like that, and also setting aside time to hang out with people, whether that's on the weekends or just getting dinner with them. There's just a lot of time, and you can allocate it however you want to.
Awesome, thank you. And I'll ask our 2 remaining panelists to answer this question. So Ezgi and Stephanie, what's one piece of advice you would give to your freshman year self? Stephanie, you can take it first.
I would say asking for help before you're struggling, because there are so many resources, and you definitely do hear about them like beforehand, but you never really know, explore by yourself how they work or how to even use them until you're struggling. And at that point, it's like you can still improve, but it is definitely way better to start at the beginning. And just everyone is really nice and they really do want to help you. But you do just have to put yourself out there and ask.
Great advice, Stephanie. Ezgi?
Going along with that, and just a quick note, I recently got my FY 101 letter, and that's a really cute and just amazing when you're a senior thing that we do at the end of FY 101 classes, that you write your senior self a note. And so I recently received that, and if I'm talking back to that letter, I just want to say be present. So in the letter, I'm saying a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't talk about what I've already done. And I think acknowledging and giving that pat on the back, even though you're a senior, I think is very important. So that's the biggest thing. I think when you come into BU, be present in your first snowfall, the first snow day, hopefully you'll have, or like anything that is BU tradition, the midnight breakfast, whatever, just be present in those, because you're going to look back at them and think about them in a good way.
Great advice, Ezgi. I think not just for your freshman year, but potentially for life, like be present in the moment and be proud of the things you've accomplished. So I think that's an awesome note to end on. I'm going to pop a couple things in the chat. One is a link to all of our upcoming events for admitted students. We're starting our academic expos next week, which is 2 nights next week and then 2 nights the week after, where all of our academic departments will be available to you in one Zoom space. So you can go talk to the English department and then move and talk to the philosophy department, or on our natural science night, hear about bio and then hear about chemistry. So a great way to ask specific questions about majors and minors. I saw someone ask in the chat, can you come in as a declared major? Absolutely, yes. And that's a great time to talk to professors and staff from those departments. And we have some more student meet and greets coming up as well, so you can register for those. And then secondly, BU is offering a mobile tour for anyone that is coming to campus, like physically in Boston. We don't have official tours right now because of COVID, but we do have some mobile tours, and there'll be folks outside to talk to and sort of guide you a little bit through campus. So feel free to come visit us. Although the buildings themselves are closed to visitors, campus is open for you to check out and kind of walk around and talk to students and staff. So with that, we're going to move into our breakout group so you can get to know a couple of these Dean's hosts a little bit better in a small group, as well as other newly admitted students. We do ask if you are able to turn on your cameras. It just makes the experience a little bit better for everybody. Tyler has hopefully in the background been furiously getting our breakout rooms ready. Tyler, give me a thumbs up if we are good. He said we're good. Cool. So folks can go ahead and turn on their cameras. He's going to open those up right now, and you should be automatically assigned. Hang back if you have questions for Emily, Chris, or myself. Thank you all very much, and congratulations again.